Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are looking at Bee's Knees Lacquer The Flood. I am still diligently trying to get through my Black Friday purchases. This one is a steel blue base with a blue shimmer and silver reflective glitter. This was another attempt by me to grab a mid-toned blue, but this time with a little bit of dustiness to differentiate it from the others in my collection. My others do tend to be slightly more clear blue, more of a jewel-toned blue. In that first coat, I think you are going to see how much gray is in that base color. I'm not entirely sure if I think this is a blue or a gray, but I put it with the blues because I feel like the shimmer pushes the overall look into the blue category. But if you tell me you think it's gray, I would not argue with you. Strangely, in the LED lighting, while I'm wiggling my thumb, the base color can almost look like it has a touch of green in it. It isn't a lot, but I feel like it does have a slight undertone to it. I suppose it could be the shimmer, but I really do not think so. I'm going to say I will keep a lookout for that undertone in other footage and we'll see if we can find it again. I did find, looking at my footage, that the base color does seem to dry down just a tad darker than it looks in the bottle, and it does this on every coat. But because so much of the look of this polish comes from the shimmer, I really don't think this is something you're going to notice. I think I noticed it here because we're very zoomed in and we can do things like replay it very often, and I see the same footage over and over again while I'm editing, so it just is something that you notice with repeat viewings. Because I did not notice this when I was painting. It is possibly also an interesting artifact of my camera. Because sometimes cameras just decide there is a different illumination now, and so it changes the contrast that you see. And I do have a second dim light that shines from over my shoulder of my painting hand in this shot, and it's possible when I removed my painting hand, it decided, oh, I can see that extra light now. But we will be seeing this in the usual bunch of full hand shots, so you'll get several views of this in different lighting scenarios. The second coat does get us a little more opacity through the base, but not that much. I think much more of the look is controlled by that plentiful shimmer, and I think in the future I'll be wearing this in 2 coats. And as per usual, I just wanted to see it in 3 coats and see how I felt about it. This formula is more of like a milky jelly. It's not quite a crelly. And because of that, you can see the reflective glitter pretty well through it. Although this lighting is probably not where you're going to see it best. The third coat looks opaque in this lighting, and I would say it's not quite opaque. But you will see, especially in the sunshot, I would call it 95% opaque, maybe 90 if I was feeling uncharitable. So fair warning for this polish. It can stain, but not in the way you might think. I had not applied my base coat perfectly, and I did leave a little gap on my metal finger at the cuticle line. And where I missed my base coat is where it stained. So for this polish, do not skip base coat. I tried to clean it off 3 different times, and the final time was with a cotton swab, so I am certain it was staining. In the sunshot, you can see some of that grayish blue base with just the tiniest amount of green, just a dollop of murk. You can see the silver reflective glitter sparkling nicely. I do think Crelly formula and creams just hide those too much, or at least for my liking. This polish does give me rainy day vibes. There is something about a gray-blue polish that does tend to do that, and I know the reflective glitter are bright, but my brain is seeing raindrops. I didn't buy this polish with anything particular in mind, but I did think it looked a bit like the Victoria crowned pigeon. It is such a visually interesting bird, not just because of the coloration, but also because of its feather pattern. Those little head feathers, what a darling. The other thing that came to mind was Van Gogh and Starry Night over the Rhone. There's something about the gradient of the blue that just struck me as very true for this. For the sun and shade, it turns out I only took this footage, so this is what we have. But I do think I know why I took this. There were times when I wondered if I was seeing a purple shift to the shimmer in this polish, and I feel like I may have captured it here. I had been wondering if I had imagined that, but I do feel like I'm seeing a slightly pinky purple shift here at the edges of my nails. I feel like the pinkish purple shift shows best near the ends of my nails and slightly into the center as I'm lifting my fingers in the brightest parts of the sun. I will say I don't think this footage captures really any shade, but we're doing what we can with what we have. I did have to go to, I don't want to say extraordinary lengths, but you have to try to see that shift. I'm going to say 98% of the time, you're going to see that medium blue shimmer. In the artificial lights, I think the shimmer can look just a bit more strident, more cobalt. When I swing around to the left, it looks like more of a Prussian blue color overall. And when I'm off to the right side, it brightens up a little bit and looks more like an Egyptian blue. In this lower light scenario, it does look more dusty, like it has more gray in it in general. This isn't really a shifting shimmer. This is more of a scenario where what you see in the bottle is what you get, which is absolutely fine. I received exactly the polish I thought I was receiving, a grayish blue base with a blue shimmer. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so that I can cross-pollinate my maple tree with a cactus to try to create a more plentiful extraction of maple syrup. Please enjoy a clip of my squirrel looking at the camera like a porch pirate with a guilty conscience before a snatch and run.